Hey guys, let's get more news about Miami Heat, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Miami Heat's Jaime Jaquez revisits favorite memory from his rookie season. Miami Heat rising sophomore Jaime Jaquez Jr. got a taste of nearly every aspect of the NBA in his rookie campaign, leaving him with countless memories. While the Heat fell early in the postseason, Jaquez played a major role due to injuries in their rotation. Despite testing the waters of the NBA playoffs, his favorite memory comes from an intense regular season battle against the Indiana Pacers. "I remember Josh Richardson throwing me a lob against the Indiana Pacers," Jaquez said. "We were going back and forth and it kind of broke the game open, crowd was going crazy. Super high scoring." The game took place on November 30th in Indiana, where the Heat walked away victorious, 142-132. Jaquez exploded for 24 points and 5 rebounds in the win, slamming home the referenced alley-oop with about 4 minutes left. It felt like the nail in the coffin, extending their lead to 14 points. Veteran star Jimmy Butler also thrived in the matchup, recording 36 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 assists. The Pacers got their revenge less than a week later in another high-scoring face-off, 144-129. The Heat ended up losing the season series as the Pacers won their final matchup of the year in April. Jaquez is looking to build off his rookie season after earning a spot on the NBA All-Summer League second team from just 2 appearances. For Summer League prospects the Heat should develop 3 to give up on. As the Miami Heat evaluate their Summer League performances, they must decide which young talents to develop and which to part ways with. That's because the Heat are facing a roster crunch. With 14 players under contract and not enough room below the second apron to sign another to a standard roster spot, the entirety of Miami's flexibility comes down to its 3 two-way roster spots. Unlike standard contracts, two-way contracts do not count against the salary cap or luxury tax, so they can be swapped out at any time. Right now, the Heat's two-way spots are occupied by Keshad Johnson, Zion Pullen and Drew Smith. But that can change at any point, and the front office will reevaluate things after the team's run to the Summer League championship. Whether these players end up getting a two-way contract or get added to the team's G League affiliate in Sioux Falls, here are 4 players the Heat should continue to develop, and 3 that might not be worth the investment. Prior to his sprained ankle, Keshad Johnson has been sensational, averaging 10 points and 4.7 rebounds per game this summer. More importantly, Johnson looks to be a glue guy for Miami, someone who hustles and does the little things not seen on the box score. He definitely reminds you of what Caleb Martin brought to the table for Miami. Given the success of Martin's development, it would make perfect sense to develop and keep Johnson for the long term. The 2021 first-round pick has been the story of the Summer League. The 22-year-old has been working with Miami and Sioux Falls since May and is looking for a comeback in the NBA. Christopher looks ready, averaging 18.4 points per game in the Summer League and impressing on the defensive end as well. It would be foolish for Miami not to give Christopher a two-way contract. He has been consistently good in every one of Miami's Summer League games, and with development, Christopher could become a vital piece of the bench in Miami's rotation. Isaiah Stevens has been sensational all Summer League for Miami. As an elite facilitator, he is averaging 8.2 assists per game. Stevens has also shown an impressive ability to score, knocking down 70% of his three-point attempts, although on a small sample. He plays a bit like Kyle Lowry and has said he looks up to Chris Paul. This is a traditional point guard and he eventually took over the starting role over Zion Pullen. Stevens is on the short list of players who could receive a two-way contract, and if he can develop into a player who can score consistently, he may fight for minutes in the rotation in the coming years. Miami Heat considered dark horses for the $95 million 3-and-D wing. Even after all the help they've added, the Miami Heat are looking for more. While they have been linked to Lauri Markkanen, another player has been mentioned as a target, Cameron Johnson. Brian Lewis of the New York Post reported that the Miami Heat are among the teams considered a surprise contender. Although the Kings, Magic, and Lakers are interested, a recent report stated that the Spurs, Raptors, or Miami Heat could be a dark horse, Lewis wrote in a story on July 22. The Nets acquired Johnson in 2023 in exchange for Kevin Durant. Johnson has established himself as a solid wing defender. Better than that, he is also a reliable three-point shooter, shooting 39.1% from three during the 2024-25 season. Johnson will enter the second year of a four-year, $94.5 million contract, where he will earn $23.6 million for the 2024-25 season. His contract is more than affordable for teams like the Miami Heat to acquire. Johnson would be another useful addition to their perimeter. The Nets signaled that they would start a rebuild when they traded Mikal Bridges to the New York Knicks. With him off the team, the Nets have no current stars on their roster, which means they could trade more pieces to get younger. If they commit to a rebuild, Johnson could be next. NBA insider Mark Stein reported that Johnson is someone to keep an eye on between now and the 2025 NBA trade deadline. Bruce Brown from Toronto. Robert Williams from Portland. Washington's unsigned free agent, and thus a prime sign-and-trade target, Tyus Jones, and the newly acquired Malcolm Brogdon. The Brooklyn trio of Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Dennis Schroeder. Trade headlines in recent days have been mainly monopolized by Utah's Lauri Markkanen and New Orleans' Brandon Ingram, but all the players above continue to be ranked as candidates to be monitored for trades between now and the February 6 trade deadline next season, Stein wrote in a story on July 11. If the Warriors can't get Johnson, they might try to acquire any of the other players mentioned above. Markkanen has been linked to them in recent weeks. There is a scenario where the Warriors could get both Markkanen and Johnson in the same offseason because their contracts are cheap, given their value as players. However, doing so would mean having to pay a good price for them in terms of assets. The Warriors have enough to do that. Again, the Warriors have increased their depth with everyone they have already added. Adding Markkanen, a 27-year-old all-star who is a great stretch, would raise their ceiling. Adding Johnson, an experienced two-way wing with playoff experience, would make them tougher to beat. The Warriors are in a precarious position. Stephen Curry is 36 years old, so Golden State doesn't have much time left with him while he is still playing at an all-star level. Bringing in Markkanen and Johnson could form another contender in the West. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Cameron Johnson? Leave your opinion in the comments.